cozy.
I know.
So cozy.
You look cozy with your tea. I love it. You have like the cozy vibe going for you. And I have my little
Thank
Jessica
you.
Fletcher. Like I just got this, my Cabot Cove sweatshirt. I love it.
Wait, I'm gonna need you to stand a little taller and model it for me.
So you got Cabot Cove, Maine.
Oh my gosh. Now, I don't want to like disappoint you, but you do know that her actual house that they filmed is in California because I went to it for the first time last year.
You actually went to Jessica Fletcher's house?
I did. Well, I drove by, stopped, took a picture because people live there. So I didn't want to like creep them out by like stalking their house.
I would totally do that. I love how we like go right into the conversation. Clearly, like we're here to talk about cozies. Obviously, Jessica Fletcher comes like she's queen of cozies. But I would stalk the house. I would stalk Jessica Fletcher's house.
It's super cute. It's in Northern California in like Mendocino, Fort Bragg area, which if you've never been there, I don't know why you would know where that is, but it's a very remote, small town on the coast. It's very cute. It has a very Cabot Cove feel.
I mean, yeah, I love my Jessica Fletcher. I have her little Funko Pop here to keep me company. I love how we just dove right in with like Jessica Fletcher. Aurora Teagarden is a Funko Pop.
Oh my God. I love that. I love that. I grew up on Murder, She Wrote. Like my grandma and my uncle were like my babysitters growing up. And so Uncle Chris showed me MTV and Madonna, and Grandma showed me Murder, She Wrote and Magnum PI. Hi, puppy.
This is Max. He wants to say hi to everybody, apparently. He's excited to talk cozies too.
Oh my gosh, there's all sorts of folks on here already. Hi, everybody.
I know, this is so exciting. Everyone wants to talk about Aurora.
Yes. Is this, okay, you'll know better than I will. Is this like a big series in the world of like cozy mysteries, the whole Aurora Teagarden series?
So I think that she was probably, I mean, again, cozy mysteries are not anything new. They've been in existence for a while. I mean, again, Agatha Christie is the queen of cozies, and she was obviously writing before Charlaine Harris's time. But I mean, I feel like she kind of set up the modern day cozy, but in this sense, I mean, I forgot how dark this book could get. I mean, this is definitely a darker cozy, and y'all, we're going to talk about this. And I saw someone commented up above, and I replied back. I'm like, yes, Lizzie Borden murder. That was definitely darker. So I feel like she probably like foundation level, but then people worked off of it to do like, oh, we're going to have our little like themes over here, like the librarian, and we're going to have our puns. So I feel like this is probably one of the building blocks for cozies. That's how I look at this. If you guys have any comments, please let me know, but that's how I view this one.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about the fact that, you know, reading that it was published in 1990, which is 1 year pre-me. I'm a 1991er. And the one we read last month was 2000, and that felt like forever ago. But comparatively speaking, with this one, I mean, this is 10 years before we meet Hannah Swenson.
And off camera, my comment was, I knew immediately that this was an older book because Arthur was like, I have a VCR if you want to come over. Like, that was his pickup line. Like, I have a VCR. So that was my cue to stop reading and be like, when was this book published? Like, if he's bragging about a VCR.
That was like the original Netflix and chill. Like, hey, you want to come over for my VCR and popcorn maker?
As soon as I saw he did that as the come on, I was like, okay, what year was this?
Yeah, let me tell you, these men were not subtle either in like their pursuit of Roe. I was just like, whoa, like they are just putting it right on out there. Good for you.
I mean, I gotta give Robin a little bit I think he was more subtle and probably a little bit more romantic than Arthur. I mean, we're gonna have to talk about, I love how we're just like diving right on in. So obviously Roe has like the two love interests. We have Arthur, who's a new detective. He was like brand new to the club meeting, just joined Real Murders, because obviously like he's a detective, but apparently he wants real murders afterwards as a hobby too. I don't get like a whole separate issue. And then Robin also writes murder mysteries, but he's like, yeah, let's go to a murder mystery club too. So clearly one track mind both guys, but yeah, the two love interests. And you got Arthur, who's like, oh, I just wanted to kiss you. And he just pulls her in for a kiss. At least Robin takes her out on a real date. So very different approaches.
Yeah, well, and I have to say, considering this came out in 1990, I was very pleasantly impressed by what a modern woman Aurora is. Like, first of all, I don't know if people know this, but I have this theory that ever since I turned 28, every character I read is 28. And I'm now 29, and still every character 28 years old. And so she's, the single 28-year-old woman in the small town. So, which I know, I mean, like in 2020 is not like a big deal, but like considering 1990s small town Georgia, it's Georgia.
Yeah.
Right?
Lawrenceton, Georgia. Fictional town. I looked that up.
Yeah, but the fact that she's going out with two dudes and like not making a big deal about it at all, I thought that was so cool.
I mean, I think it's so funny though. We go from reading Hannah, who is Norman and Mike, to now we're reading Ro, who's got two guys, Robin and Arthur. It's like, what is love triangles a new cozy thing? Like, or love triangles been a part of cozies all this time and just never noticed how love triangles exist here?
Oh, I love this. Victoria said the funniest thing is that in 1990, Murder Club was weird. In 2020, true crime podcasts and groups is how people relax. That's exactly what I was thinking too as reading it, is I was like, if this came out today, this would be like, I know plenty of people who are part of groups where they're just like talking about murder cases.
Right?
So you have to have that to like make sure that it's like a little odd, I guess.
I mean, I have to admit, I will sort of give them like a little bit of leeway with this, because a lot of the true crime stuff, I mean, at least for me, is you watch it on Netflix and you're kind of by yourself in your little element, or you go to see something like the podcast in real life being filmed or something, or the people from the podcast talking about the podcast. But like to just get together and like dissect murders is a little different. Like I kind of am like, yeah, like would I go to that? I don't know. I mean, depends on who else is in the group.
Yep. So I mean, my question for everyone, whenever there's a love triangle involved, is of course, who's your pick? Who do you got? Arthur or Robin? And please set aside the fact that his name is Robin Crusoe, because that is enough to dump him over. I mean, just that, like that's so sad. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of wondering, like, I mean, like, I wonder if anyone actually ever asked her, like, why did you name him this?
You would think. Oh, Anna said Team Robin. What up? That's me too. I do like Arthur. Like, I do like him. He seems like if Robin wasn't in town, she could go for Arthur. But then now that Robin's rolled up in there, he's like the mysterious stranger.
I mean, I do. So my biggest thing with Robin is I think he's like more on the romantic side, and that's probably where I gravitate towards naturally, because Arthur, I mean, he comes over, she makes him a sandwich, and he literally like pulls her onto his lap and like kisses her, and she's like, why did you do that? Oh, I just wanted to do something that would make me feel good. And then again, he's like very like forward, like, oh, you want to come over? Whereas Robin's like, oh, let's go out for dinner. And I think he just tends to be a little bit more like, again, I'm going to just go with romantic, whereas the other one's like, I am single, I'm recently divorced, I have no children. He's just like, it is what it is, I'm just going to push forward.
Which I will say, he earned like major points in my book just for being upfront and honest about that. Like, yo, here's the deal, I want to date you, I'm single, want to come over, watch some VHS, I'm down, girl. And I'm like, ooh, he's putting it out there though. That's good for him.
That's what I mean. Like, it just depends on what type of character you gravitate towards. So I mean, like, I probably like the guy who's like, Leah, I'll take you out to a nice dinner, let's get dressed up and have a little romantic. Whereas the other one, he's like very straightforward. Like, I feel like he just cuts through all like the nonsense. Like, like, we don't need to have dinner, I know I like you.
And you know what? I was thinking I was Team Robin this whole time, but now the more we talk about it, I'm like, maybe I'm Team Robin for Aurora, but I'm Team Arthur for myself. I think that's what it is.
I feel like that's happened with me in books before, where I'm like, I don't really see this hero with the heroine, but I think he's a cinnamon roll and he's mine. I love this guy.
I love some cinnamon rolls.
Oh yeah. I don't think Arthur counts as a cinnamon roll though, at all.
I don't know him enough yet. We'll just have to see where this goes. But I feel like even at the end of book 1, she's already gravitating more towards Robin than she is towards Arthur.
So I'm like, again, I feel like we're just gonna maybe we'll talk a little bit more spoilery stuff after we talk more about this book, because again, it like when you look at the books as a series versus just this one, it's very different, because another love interest eventually emerges and everything else. Oh yeah, we can talk about this a little bit more later, and I'll reveal my feelings about some things.
Okay.
Spoilery.
And you know what? I mean, I have to tell you, I was telling Angela this before we started recording, is I didn't even realize that this was Charlaine Harris, because I am a huge fan of the True Blood series, and I read all the Sookie Stackhouse books way back when, and really did love her writing and everything. And so when I picked up this book, was like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I never made that connection. But now that you're talking about like introducing a love triangle, more like a love like trapezoid with like multiple people. I mean,
oh my God, Bill, Eric, and I'm forgetting what's his name.
And the tiger guy, Quinn. Alcide. There's a lot of them.
Alcide, that's what I was trying to remember.
A love pyramid.
I was trying to remember Alcide. I forgot. I was like, I remembered the actor. I was picturing him, but his name escaped me.
Yeah. There was a whole other guy in the books too that like turned into a tiger. He never even made it in the show.
No, and in the show, yeah, she was not married to Eric at all, although I think she should have been. I would have chosen him. Spoiler.
Yeah. But I see it. I see the connections now, like between her writing and her series.
Yeah. I was just reading the comment up above. I love this. The socialite just gave him to her. Yeah. I love how like this woman's like going through men. She's like, you can have my discarded one. Here you go.
I loved her. I wanted to know more about her. I thought she was living her best life.
She was adorable. And so, okay, we'll get into a little bit of spoiler. I felt so bad for her later on because I loved her at first. I thought it was so sweet that, again, there was like no animosity about it. There was no like, oh, he's mine, you can't have him, or, oh, I went out with him, therefore, like, it's weird if you do. I mean, she was just so down to earth and like low key about it. I was like, so girl power to you.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was, I mean, honestly, and you know what, that was something that was actually really great in this, now that I think about it, is there wasn't really, besides the actual bad guys, there wasn't really a lot of like animosity going on between characters. There wasn't that much drama. Like, I know, but I know, like, when we read the chocolate chip cookie murder, I was like, whoa, we got all sorts of stuff going on here that never made it to the Hallmark Channel. And I know we had a few things in this one too. So you go, take it away.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the only little drama was Lynn for me. She obviously was like, she's like, Arthur is mine. I loved in the book how she explained it though. She's like, clearly Lynn has the hots for Arthur. Arthur has the hots for me. Therefore, Lynn just likes me. She laid it all out.
A is to B, B is to C.
I just thought it was so funny. But like, at least Lynn wasn't in the book that much. So it wasn't like I'm staring death eyes at Aurora for like pages on end.
And I have to say, I haven't watched all of the Aurora Teagarden movie adaptations because there's something, don't hate me, everybody, but there's something about Candace Cameron, Beret, whatever, Beret. There's something about her that just doesn't sit with me. And I don't know if it's her playing Aurora or just her in general, but so I don't watch a lot of them, but I did, as I was reading this book, kind of remember back seeing the movie, and I know that there were several things that were different. It
was like reading it for the first time for me because again, once I looked up the year, this was one of my first Cozies that I ever read. This was I read this years ago, and then I've seen the movie quite a few times since, and so I think the movie probably like made more of an impression because I was I was so frequently, exposed to it. And so then when I was reading this, it was like reading it for the first time going, oh my goodness, what is going on here? I mean, just even little things about this book was so different. I mean, Aurora in the movie, she's not the one who finds the body. I mean, there's so many differences just across the board. She's also not the one giving the presentation on this. And she's already president of the club, and Sally is her best friend, and she's not.
I remember that.
Mom, and Perry is not mentally disturbed. He's just a little bit of an outcast.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know how I felt about that part, but
with her cousin, there was no little brother storyline. It was just
that was
different.
real dark. That was real dark. The fact that they were going to bring in like some child murder up in here, but I actually, Miriam mentioned it, and it's something that I really did enjoy this book. And I think one of the things that drove me nuts about it, though, was that, and Miriam said this too, is she said, I kept thinking none of the people seemed suspect. And that was me too, is like, I kept looking for like little breadcrumbs or clues like to be laid out, because I love guessing. I love reading mysteries. I love watching mysteries. And my favorite thing about them is trying to guess who did it. And I feel like there were never enough clues for me to even come up with any kind of guess.
Yeah. No, I am like nodding my head like everything you're saying, because again, if I had no context whatsoever, I mean, even knowing the ending, I was like, how did we get from here to there? I mean, because I couldn't remember. There was just so many differences between the book and the movie. I was like, maybe this isn't even how it goes in the book. Like maybe they chose someone else, because obviously they had the poor guy. She's like, this guy loves massacres. And I'm going, oh, this poor guy is obviously going to be thrown under the bus as a red herring. But I mean, he was such a red herring. Like, it wasn't him, because it was really too obvious. So, I mean, aside from the like, putting up their light, like, over here, look at this.
Right.
No prior to, you're like, maybe it's you. Oh, Sally, you said that and that was weird. None of that.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, I think the one thing that I did like more in the movie version was that they gave, can I say like spoilery things?
Yeah. I think we can get into spoilers now.
Okay. They gave Melanie and Bankston like more, like you got more of an idea that it could be them in the movie. Like, and I liked the reason they gave them in the movie was like, wasn't it like he was always feeling like he wasn't smart enough, and she's just so devoted to him that they're like, we're gonna make the perfect murders. And I happen to prefer that over like just psychopathic, sociopathic tendencies as like the explanation, which I mean, let's be real, that's like a thing. So I mean, I get it, but compared to like the book and the movie, it was just a very, very different story.
I mean, I rewatched the movie last night, and in the movie, I mean, you can cut again. I think they gave you more of the little crumbs to follow, because the other club members, again, they were talking about the Wallace case, and he's the only member who's like, no, it was a hammer, and everyone else was like, no, it was a fire poker. And then when Miriam is found, like they find the murder weapon eventually, and it's a hammer, they're like, wait a second, like he's the only one who said that. But he wanted to prove that he had a mind for murder, because apparently when he gave his presentation, the husband, Miriam's husband there, he sent him a 3-page letter of revisions of like, these are your edits, here's where you went wrong. And he was like, he sent me 3 pages. 3 pages. Like, he's so mad. And so like, you can kind of see like, okay, that's way over the top, like response, but like you kind of understand like, okay, you cracked. Like they didn't really give you that here. And he was way more vicious and violent.
Oh, so vicious. I mean, and then, the only thing that ever made me kind of think, okay, it's got to be them, is when the idea of it being a pair of killers is introduced. Because I just kept thinking like, well, they're really the only ones that we've just made such a big deal out of being this couple, this pair. But even then I was like, but why? Like, and I know Anna Ross said in real life, you can't really pick out the serial killers until you know they're one. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but when I'm reading it, I want to try.
I feel like if you somehow managed to guess it was them with this knowledge, I would be so impressed. I mean,
yeah,
even
I want to know how.
No.
Like, how did you do it? What was it that was like, it's them, I want to know.
I mean, because even then I was writing, like, I always write my little notes, and he's the loan officer. I mean, she worked in like an insurance office as a secretary. Like, there was no red flags about anything really with them, except, I mean, even, I also thought, like, at first it was kind of funny how Aurora was like, hey, have you been working out? And she looked at Melanie and sort of was like, oh, you're keeping him healthy. And like, they played it off so Melanie wasn't jealous or gave her one of those, like, why are you looking at my man sort of thing. Like, even that, I liked the interaction between them. And I'm going like, isn't she the bad one? Like, in the movie? I mean, but I'm liking their interaction. So it was weird.
That Melanie, there was like a lot of subtle innuendos and like commentary about like Melanie and Bankston having sex. Like, I don't know if there's just like so little going on in this town or what, but like, I mean, they must have mentioned at least 3 times, like, oh, I saw Melanie's car parked outside your house. I'm just like, what? Oh my gosh, move on. They're getting married. Like, let's let it go.
Yeah, I mean, again, with Cozy Mysteries, a lot of, like, you usually don't say stuff like that. And I was like, you guys are really, like, drawing attention to this relationship here. I mean, unless it was supposed to be like, oh, that was supposed to be a representation of something sinful, in which case, like, maybe that's why I didn't think of it as a red flag, because it's
right,
just normal.
Which would have been weird if that was the case, considering they're the characters getting married and you have this single woman that's dating 2 men, but like she's the one solving crime. Like, that doesn't add up.
I mean,
I have read that though, that like a few people have said in reviews of like both Real Murders and just like Charlaine Harris in general, that some people think she gets a little preachy sometimes in her writing. Like, I didn't get that feeling, and like I've read the Sookie Stackhouse books, and I know that they're set in the South and like more conservative areas, but I don't know, there's a lot of graphic nudity and banging going on in her books, so like I don't think that's the case.
It's so funny because, again, there's so many changes with the 2 books. The only preachiness type of element I ever really encountered was, I mean, in the movie, it's the first movie. She dates I don't know if he's a preacher, but she dates a religious figure. But even then, they only last like 1 book. It's not even a real relationship. But that was the only religious person who I remember being in the text.
Okay. Interesting. And it's so interesting that this was the first book, but this wasn't the first movie. They did one before this adaptation. I wonder why. I wonder why they. Oh, are we bringing in the puppy? Is Papa Ringo joining us?
So I have a laundry basket on the floor, and he put his treat on top of my laundry that needs to be folded. And I thought he wanted to pick him up, but apparently he just wants to stand guard over his treat. So we're gonna find out what's going on there eventually.
Let's see. Oh, we do have some people weighing in. Let's see. Shaylee said, I didn't get the preachy thing. Cassandra said, they definitely associate with sex and murder. Haha, horror movie tropes. That is true. That is very true, actually. You know what? It actually does feel almost a little more like campy horror, I guess, to me than it did like cozy mystery, now that I think about it, because the murders are actually pretty violent.
I mean, the whole thing with Cozies is the murder's off the page, but right. She finds the bodies and she gives explicit detail about the bodies she's finding.
Yeah.
I mean, so the first one, she's talking about like her eye isn't where it's supposed to be and the blood and the bashing in, like she goes into detail. And then the other murder that was just so not usually cozy was the Lizzie Borden one, where she's like blood on the walls, and you got the character, the daughter who I liked her in the beginning. She's in shock, but like that was such a graphic scene compared to the normal cozy mystery. You're usually not like, hey, there's blood there, and oh my god, like there's part of a skull on the floor. Like that's not usually how cozies go.
It's true. We have a few more people weighing in on the preachy Miss Charlaine Harris. Victoria says, yes, she does get preachy, like the murderers are the ones having all the sex. And Angela said, and in future books, she gets some preachy things going on. Interesting. Okay. So does she have any other series besides
Probably.
Real Murders that are in the cozy world? Because I would for sure be interested in seeing like other things going on.
I mean, yeah,
These are good notes though. I like this.
I just saw the braid. Yeah, that's actually why I did the braid for tonight. You have a very good memory. In the movie,
is that supposed to be Aurora's braid?
In the movie, Candace Cameron, she's like in the mirror, like doing her braid, getting ready for her presentation. And I was channeling my Aurora. Like I even wore my. Okay, so I always think of Alexis from Schitt's Creek with this necklace, but I was like, oh, A for Aurora. I'll wear that one.
I feel like we talked about Schitt's Creek last month too, like which is absolutely fine, like because that's the best show ever. Just putting it out there.
It's amazing, and they got their Emmy noms. They deserve them.
Yeah. Oh, I know, so worth it. But yeah, I have to say I don't see Candace Cameron Bure as Aurora.
I just saw the comment when you first watched the Hallmark movie, you made your kids close their eyes. Yeah, I would totally. Yeah, I would imagine that.
How funny! I love that. Oh yeah, sex association with the reveal of their home with the adult magazines. Yeah, and you know what? I saw somebody. I forget who it was, but somebody earlier in the comments did mention they felt the ending was a little rushed, and that's something that like when they show that he's got like pornographic pictures and like magazines and stuff in the house, it was like a sentence. It was so quick that I was like, wait a second, what? And so I wish I think there were moments that felt like a little too quick. But the whole book just flies by. Like the whole book is really quick.
I mean, I think the pacing's really good so that you can just get engrossed and just keep reading. There weren't any kind of natural pauses. You're like, and now I'm going to put this down and go make another cup of tea. Like you had to kind of pick and choose your moments if you were going to pause it. But I mean, talking about the ending. So, okay. So again, this is where I think it gets really darker for me, at least as a cozy reader. So obviously like, they pick up the younger brother who's 6 years old and he's the next potential victim. And then when Aurora finally figures it out and wants to go rescue him, I mean, they really do a number on her. They hit her with a golf club twice and they're kicking her as she's like trying to crawl towards Philip to put her body over him to protect him. I mean, that is, oh my gosh, that is so not usually what happens in cozies. Like you might get a little roughed up, you know, pushed or shoved, but you usually don't get hit with a golf club. And
you are not involving children in it either. That is like, I mean, speaking of Hallmark, that is like the farthest. Hallmark doesn't do sex. Hallmark doesn't do like child violence. Like, I mean, I'm somebody who for a while was working on a script with Hallmark, and I can tell you that there are many, many rules that they outline for you saying, do not talk about this. So it was a lot. It was a lot all at once.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I keep waiting for you to be like, yeah, eventually they're going to like re-pick up the script. Like I wanted that to happen for you so badly, but like you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, it makes total sense why Philip became the cousin who was in college, like instead of him being the younger brother in this. But I mean, so in the movie, the big reveal scene is Aurora and Robin are in the library and they're going to turn them into one of the murders in regards to Aurora getting beaten with the dictionary and Robin then hanging himself. But obviously none of that happens. But it's because it's a murder-suicide. But like obviously no children were involved in the making of that Hallmark movie over there.
Right. Yeah, and here's the thing is I think it's one of the, I know we're comparing them a lot, but I feel like you almost have to set the movie aside and say like, that's Real Murders. That's Hallmark's Real Murders. Yeah. This is Charlaine Harris's Real Murders. Like they're almost completely different entities. Like I know that they have the same world, the same characters, but I mean, to be fair, that's what they did to True Blood too. There's characters on the show of True Blood that die in book 1 of the Sookie Stackhouse series. So, I mean, you know, changes are made when things are adapted.
I mean, I will say, like, I really enjoy the Hallmark movies. I'm really disappointed that you can't buy all of the Aurora ones. I mean, I only have the first two, and every time there's an Aurora marathon, I always watch them. Like, I love the Hallmark adaptations. But again, I think I had like that distance from when I read the book to when I watched the movies. So like the movies were, they're their own entity to me. But like I enjoyed this book. Like, yeah, it was darker, but like I still enjoyed it. Like, to me, this wasn't necessarily a cozy mystery. It was more of like a lighter mystery almost.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think if we hadn't been reading this for Cozy Mystery Book Club and somebody just recommended this book to me, I wouldn't have thought of it as a cozy mystery. But I wonder if that changes at all, like throughout the series, or you know, I don't know. But I enjoyed it enough where I would be interested to read more and see like what comes next.
Oh no, I mean, I will admit, I think Charlaine Harris has like a really healthy attitude as the writer who's had their books adapted. So I got to meet her, was it last year or the year before, at Book Lovers Con, and she was on a panel. Cool. And she talked about how they had been adapting the Aurora movies, and they reached out to her saying, "Oh, we're gonna make some changes." And apparently, she was like, "Well, you've been making changes all along, so like go for it." Like, she was just like, "Have at it." Obviously, like, just keep doing what you're doing. But I mean, I thought that was such a nice way of, you know, kind of differentiating. Like, my books are my books, the movies are the movies. So even she has that mentality. So
very classy, very classy. I like that, because I mean, you know, I talk to a lot of authors all the time, and many of them have the opposite point of view, which is totally valid. I mean, I understand both sides of it, of like, this is my baby. I can't, don't ruin my baby. Like, so I do get that too. But yeah, what a classy lady. I like that.
I thought, I mean, for me, that was such a, I mean, instead of being like, oh, they made this change, that change, and, you know, you're kind of going like, oh, should I have done that as the writer? I mean, just the fact that she was able to sort of make that differentiation, like, I was like, go you, like, compartmentalizing. I mean, just another reason why I like you.
Can I read you one of my favorite lines?
Go for it. I mean, I know I have my notes, like, I haven't been looking down like, let's talk about this. No, like, none of that. This is great.
a lot of it has just been a lot of like lines that I saved just because they amused me. And so starting with, now Miss Teagarden, Jack Burns went on, his mask back in place, his voice as buttery as a waffle. That's it. That's the whole line. I don't know if I'd ever heard a voice described as buttery as a waffle, like specifically a waffle, not toast, not pancakes, not, I don't know, what else do you put butter on? But yeah, like buttery as a waffle.
I think I highlighted that and made a note like, Leslie Knope would like this. Like, I think that was my note in my Kindle.
That's good. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think I actually highlighted the same thing, but it wasn't one of my notes. I was like, that's amazing.
I have a question for you. And this is something that this annoys me in mysteries. And you know what? I think it is because of when I grew up watching Murder, She Wrote and Columbo and all these shows. You always got to meet the person who died before they died. And so I was going to ask you, do you have a preference when it comes to that? Because I know with this book, in the very first moments, Mamie is killed, and we never know Mamie. Like, we never meet Mamie. And so I'm just wondering if that ever has an effect on you when you read.
I mean, I think it varies. I mean, again, I love my Julianne Lindsay, Brie Baker books. I think she's fabulous. And so, you know, usually you meet the person, you're like, oh yeah, like, you're terrible. And then you don't really miss them.
Yeah.
Motivation. Like, that works for me. But then, you know, I also like, I mean, again, this is more TV show, but, you know, when you watch Psych or Monk, or then you read one of the adaptations with the books, you know, they go investigate. So like, they then go into the murder, and that works for me too. Like, I honestly don't have a preference. I just think it depends on how the story is going to play out. But I do think we kind of got insight into like, because she was part of the book, like she was part of that crew within the book. Like she was one of their real murder members. So it felt like she was a part of their own community within a community. So like, even though you didn't get to meet her, it still felt like you knew a little bit about her, or at least you felt enough of, oh my gosh, she was close to Aurora and the others. So I don't know. I mean, I'm very like, if you can make it work, you can make it work.
Okay, fair enough. And you know what, now that you mentioned like Psych and Monk, which are two of my favorite shows of all time, that, you know, after Schitt's Creek, of course. And but I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That is, I think with those, because I'm so focused on the cast of characters that I love. Oh, Max has things to say too.
I think this time he left the treat in the, you want to come up?
Thank you, Shaylee. Shaylee said that she likes to meet the victims first, for sure. So she can see if they're a good person or a nasty person. Yeah. I mean, how many times, like, this is like the quintessential Murder, She Wrote episode. Like, if you watch, if they don't kill the person until like 15, 20 minutes in, and you know who's going to die because you're watching it and they are terrible. And you're just like, it's you. You're going to die and no one's going to be sorry about it.
Like, you're a terrible person. You're annoying all these people. Like, someone eventually is going to crack.
Yep. But yeah, what else do you have? What are some of your other notes?
I mean, I'm kind of think that's a fascinating question. I've never really thought about it like that. That's a great question. No, I mean, I think the only reason I probably have that, not like, I don't want to be like nonchalant about it, is because I enjoy Psych and Monk so much. Otherwise, like, I think if you're reading a cozy, again, this is where TV show versus movie probably comes into play, like, or, you know, reading a book. I think reading a book, I think I like to meet the character a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, me too. I think my other note I had later on, I guess I was a little confused when it came to the Benjamin Greer story plot. Like,
poor guy.
I was so confused because, well, first of all, Morrison Pettigrew, the like random Communist Party mayoral electee. Like, I thought it was really funny that they were bringing in the Communist Party, but again, 1990. Okay. And when he died, I was like, oh, that seems like, I don't even know who that guy is yet. Like, and then the fact that at some point later on, Benjamin Greer admits to all the murders, I was like waiting for, oh God, what do they have on him? Is like somebody blackmailing him? What's the deal? And then it ended up being, I feel like there were a couple places with both him and Perry that it kind of, and even Bankston and Melanie, that basically anybody who was like killing or like potentially killing people, it all came down to mental illness, which I realize is something that plagues a lot of people. And yes, people untreated will do drastic things, but I was like, I don't want this to be the excuse for murder. Like,
he ended up in the state psychiatric facility. I mean, he cracked. I mean, it was just he apparently he saw the body and went into a state of shock and then started admitting he killed people. I mean,
that's a lot.
I thought at first I thought he was kind of funny. Like, you know, he kept asking her out and she didn't want to be asked out. And she was like, oh, Benjamin, you. Like, she was trying to be nice and play it off. But then when he ends up in a psychiatric facility, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy. Like, I mean.
It just kind of seems like I don't think it really paid off. Like, I can see where like you would include that like in a story, but I almost would have felt better about, you know, what was funny now that I think about it is that, and I did think this was smart that, you know, Bankston and Melanie are like planting all this evidence on like everybody, which I was like, that's cool. It's like Clue. It's like, you know, there's something about everyone. But I almost would have liked if there was finally enough evidence where like the police thought it was somebody and they brought them in. Because now that I think about it, they were never really pointing fingers at anyone. They'd be like, oh, we found evidence in your car too. Oh, that's fine. We know it's not you. I know your axe killed people, but like, we know it's not you. Like, everyone was very chill.
That was the note I was flipping towards. Gifford, because when he starts asking, he was like, and did the hatchet have tape?
Gifford.
And you're like, wait a second, what? You're like, why do you know what the hatchet looks like? And then he goes, that's my hatchet. His friend there found it missing, or it wasn't in its usual place.
Oh, Gifford.
I know. And he's like, oh, I better go tell the police that's mine. And he just walks away to go to the police station.
Yeah, it was so, and then no one was ever thought to be the killer. Like, no one was ever accused. They're just like, oh yeah, like, we know it's your weapon. Oh, we know we found her purse in your car, but like, you said you didn't take it? Okay, like, we believe. I'm like, Arthur, dude, come on. Like, you're in this club and you're a cop. Like,
Yeah.
you should know better.
I mean, the whole thing with like planting the clues, I kind of thought it was interesting though. I mean, again, I understand and I agree with you totally. I mean, it just felt like a way to keep the members all on their toes, or keep them all like, oh, what's going on here? Like, why is this person all of a sudden? Mm-hmm. I mean, at least you have people who are like, you know, Robin saying, oh yeah, my bag is missing, and then the bag turns up. So
that was good. I liked that.
At least there's kind of a little bit of like, oh, it's missing, versus going, oh yeah, like the golf club thing came up later on and that became the big clue. I mean, so that went right over my head when you're reading it. I didn't even think of that. But
I liked all the clues. I thought the clues were fun. And the briefcase, that was probably my favorite one, because that one was like one they had to like work for a little bit. I liked that.
I like that. I mean, I also thought it was funny. They're like, yeah, we're just going to go down this alley. And he's like, no, this was my idea. I'm like going down the alley looking for this. I mean, that was when they were actually, like, you know, they had that taking agency with their sleuthing. They weren't just being on the, you know, receiving end of it.
I like Victoria's note. Oh, Shaylee said, I find this book so much more comical. Victoria said, that's what makes it unrealistic for me. 4 murders in 10 days and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation isn't in town. You know what? That's like spot on though, because I have watched enough episodes of Criminal Minds to know that this is like what they would call a spree. And I'm just like, where are you guys? Like, what's going on?
So this was, so again, going back to like just a random favorite line, I wrote this down. So after Aurora found the body, she was so dead. Not just dead, she was so dead. And then Mammy was so dead. She kept saying so dead. I love how she had to like, not dead, she is so dead.
Totally. I just rewatched Clueless again the other day. That sounds like if Cher and Dion were like investigating murders. Like, oh my gosh, bummer.
She's not just dead, she's totally dead. Oh my gosh. My goodness. No. I just thought that for some reason, like a random like thing that I just thought was really funny. It was just like, she's so dead.
So dead. Yeah. The next one I marked was the one about the VCR and popcorn. There was another one where I forget which of her gentleman suitors it was. I think it was Robin, where he did sound like very forward. Oh yeah, let's see. Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry. The grocery store scene where like he reaches above her to grab something to help her, and he's like, oh gosh, what does he say? Here, young lady, let me get that for you. And it's this whole awkward moment of like him, you know, bringing down whatever it was. She turns around and he's like, oh, wait, you looked like a little girl from behind, but you look like a lady in the front. Oh, wait, like it was so awkward.
I marked that exact same scene. That's why I'm like nodding and laughing, but I had no idea how to bring that up. I had no idea. Like this has been in my notes. I highlighted it. Like, again, I always post quotes over on Twitter, and I was like, I pulled that and I was like, I'm not going to post that one. I was like, there's
out of context, it would come across like real creepy.
Even in context, it came across real creepy.
Yeah, like, let's see. I thought from the back, you know, you look about 12, but certainly not from the front. He realized what he just said, and his eyes closed in horror. I was beginning to enjoy this. Oh God. Yeah, it's a lot. Oh yeah. Then he says, this is the part that got me too. I don't think we should talk like this, he said, indicating the difference in our heights. Why don't I come over after I get my groceries put up? You live right by me. I think you said last night. You make me want to pick you up, so I can see you better. That was the line. That was the one where I paused, stepped back, thought about it, went right back into the book to reread it, and it was still icky.
I just picture him like picking her up underneath the arms, like by the armpits, and be like, "Hi, face level now."
Yeah. Maybe I skipped over. Was he just like freakishly tall, or was
No,
she
she's 4'11".
Okay.
She's tiny.
Okay. Why did I miss that? I don't know how that like just right over
again,
my head.
Like in the movies, like Candace Cameron is roughly the same height as the love interest, like across the board. So I mean, again, total difference. I mean, she's also 4'11". I just picture her in the books just being
small.
Like so much shorter than everybody else, like coming up like yay high everywhere to everyone.
Yes. So he could even be like a shorter guy and be 5'6", 5'7", and it wouldn't matter because she would still be a foot smaller. Interesting.
Though. She said something when he kissed her, like their height difference wasn't awkward at all, though. Like she made reference to it somewhere along the line, like when they kissed. Like
maybe because he lifted her up, like he can do the lift, like Dirty Dancing. Woo!
No one puts baby in a corner.
Yeah.
Nobody
maybe they should. Oh God!
Maybe I'm thinking now, like maybe that's why Arthur had to like pull her onto the lap, because maybe he was taller and it would have been awkward to do the kiss.
And you know what? Now that I'm like, we're talking about him lifting her up and the other guy like putting her on his lap. These sound like a lot of like really weird, like daddy little girl like scenarios going on. Which is like, if you're into that, I'm not gonna yuck your yum, but also like, I don't know. This is opening so many layers right now, Angela.
So Shaylee is 4'11". Okay, so yeah, she's like, my husband's 5'8" and towers over me. Okay, so like I'm 5'3", so like I'm not that much taller, but like yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm 5'9", so I guess I don't know. It's just weird for me to.
I'd be tilted up like, hi.
My guy roommate that I lived with in Chicago, he's like 6'4", and he made me feel really, really small too. And I'm like, I've never been the short one. This is exciting.
No, I wouldn't be in back for like the school photos. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, Anna says she's 5'4" and her husband's 6'4". Oh, Cassandra, I'm with you. Where are the tall, cozy protagonists? Thank you. I also want me some fat ladies. I want the fat protagonists out here too. So I'm here for it.
Tell us her size. I just knew that she was short. So I just kind of got like she was like a petite person, but they never really got into her size.
No. They just said, I mean, if they're picking her up and putting her on laps and stuff, I'm going to guess she's pretty compact, but it sounds so much dirtier when you read
Cassandra. She's taller than her husband.
I love it. I love that. I just saw like some group of photos that was all like women with their taller male or their shorter male partners. And they made my heart sing. I love it.
The only thing that I thought of, I mean, again, I wasn't following. I didn't even know she was pregnant. Was the Jonas brother there? They just had the baby, and you see the girl. I don't know if they're married or not. The girlfriend wife. She's taller than him. Just
yeah, they're pretty too. Their kid's gonna be gorgeous.
You gotta love how like clearly I know what's going on in entertainment land. Where I was like, the Jonas brother with the tall, who may or may not be married to her, have a child. But like, him. Like when I saw the post, like the picture, you just reminded me of that.
The girl from Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. They got married. They got married in Vegas.
I didn't see again. I didn't even know she was pregnant. People are like, "Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this child." I'm like, I didn't even know she was pregnant. So
yeah, to be fair, I knew she was pregnant, but then she like popped out the baby. I was like, "Whoa, that was fast!" I thought like this is the whole thing with like quarantine, COVID. Like, I hope everyone's good. By the way, I hope y'all are surviving and just getting by, because time is something crazy right now. Like, it's both too fast and too slow. Like I'm making all the plans for my podcast for the fall, and I'm just like, wait, how can I have like October planned already. Isn't that like 4 months away? It's nuts.
One of the, I might as well mention it now, was one of the announcements I was going to make was that I made the first 12 days of Cozies. I made the bingo boards. And so I was going to tell y'all to make sure you signed up for the newsletter. I made the landing page specifically for 12 days of Cozies. So you could join there, and then you get an email response that had the bingo boards. And then if you're already subscribed to my newsletter, I'm going to send you that link in the newsletter. So even if you are subscribed, you're good. I'm going to send it to you, or you can sign up now and get the bingo boards. But I was putting together the Christmas bingo boards. So like when you were talking about planning ahead, I was like, yep, I was planning for Christmas the other day.
Yeah, well, and you guys do Cozies and I do Boobsmas. So I mean, we've got all the musses to look forward to later this season.
Hashtag 12 days of Cozies. Oh yeah, I actually made a little sign there. I don't know if y'all can see it. If it's like right there with
I'm like moving my head, thinking, oh, that's cute. Your shelves are so gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm again, like planning for Christmas. Still summer.
Yeah. Hey, again, time doesn't matter. Yep. Victoria just said Christmas in July. Like, hello. It's fun. Honestly, like, I love that people are finding joy in whatever little thing right now. Put up your light. Put up your tree. I don't care. Go for it. What's going on?
I don't know. So I have a makeup case. And and I'm sitting, so this is my kitchen table that I've turned into my like everything.
Good.
This is my desk, this is my, vanity. And so I have another chair, and then I have the makeup case, and then a pillow. And what do you think the dog is? He's in between all three of them, and he's doing this like clawing at the carpet. So I don't know. We're just gonna let Max be Max.
Love it. I miss having a dog in my house. It's so weird. Like, not having another creature around, but I don't think I have the energy right now to devote the time and love to an animal. So I'm going to wait. Oh, Shaylee asked, what's Boobsmas? Well, Shaylee, let me tell you, you might have noticed I host a podcast called Boobies and Newbies. And when December rolls around, I do the 12 days of Boobsmas, where we read 12 short, usually novella, 12 holiday romance novellas. We do 12 episodes, and we do 12 giveaways. And that's Boobsmas in a nutshell. So something to look forward to this December.
I got to like bear witness to the birth of this podcast, so I feel like I get to enjoy this. People, because I remember when you started it and it sounded like such a good idea, and now to see, I was updating my website, so my computer, my laptop went, it passed on into the other, technology life. So I have my desktop, and I've been working from a desktop. So I decided, okay, well, let me update the website while, I'm thinking of it. And so I went on to your download, and said you had like over 60,000. I was like, oh, go Kat. I'm like, this is amazing. I was so happy when I saw that. I was so excited.
Crazy.
Like, oh my gosh.
I know. It's been a ride. And you know what? It's so crazy because I don't think about stuff like that at all. Like the numbers and the followers and stuff. Like it's great. I know that it's not my life, but I love it. It makes me happy. So but you've been around since the very beginning.
I was so happy to see that though, because I knew you before you even had one download. Like I was probably one of the first, or I was like one of your first 12 or something. And so because I did like a 1 minute review for you, and so that's why when I said I was updating my website and I clicked over, I was putting the URL there, and I saw that and I was going, oh, this is so great. I agree with you totally. Like I don't look at subscribers or like the followers. Like if you just love what you do, like love talking romance, love talking cozy, it's
yeah, and we need that now more than ever. Sorry to derail the conversation. No. If there was more to say,
I think
about
you're so murder. It's great. She asked about Boobsmas. We have to explain this.
I had to give the people what they want. You want Boobsmas, I'll give it to you.
No, I mean, I'm just giving you like congratulations. Like, I'm so happy. Like,
Thank you.
People found your podcast.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy that you continually, for some reason, ask me to come back here and do this, because it's always so much fun, like chatting with you and everybody that, I mean, I'm not chatting with all of you, but you're there, so I feel like we know each other.
I always say cozy companions. That's what I always say. The sleuthers unite, cozy companions.
Love it.
I mean, I love these. I mean, again, I was telling you before, like off camera, like this is the one time I've done the hair and makeup all month. I was looking forward to this. Again, my my laptop passed on. It's got its little angel wings flying around, and technology heaven. Working on the dissertation. Like I was so happy to take some breaks and go on the Instagram and post like, hey, this is coming up in 2 weeks. This is coming up in a week. Like every time I get to interact and post with y'all, it's always putting a smile on my face. It's great.
Yeah, I know. Well, and let's see, we're getting so much love about cozies and romance. Yep, cozies and romance. I know there really is a lot of crossover. Anna said, I haven't read any of the strictly romance genre. I don't know where to start. Well, Anna, not to plug myself too hard, but I do have a website now, boobiesandnewbies.com. And we have links to it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all at Boobies Podcast. And you can listen to episodes and I'll make plenty of recommendations. But I've also started just posting the show notes for every episode and any links to books that we mention, as well as books that I recommend in my blog. So if you want to start there and see what you're interested in, go for it. But yeah, I mean, I tell everybody, I'm like, look, you got to try a little bit of everything to know what you like. Like I started reading romance 10 years ago and it was a contemporary, like morning after friends to lovers story. And I mean, now I read everything. I just read like an alien romance. I mean, there is something out there for everyone.
My own head, I was just like hashtag Ruby Dixon.
Yeah, that wasn't it, but I love those books.
That was my first response. I'm like mentally filling in the gap, like hashtag Ruby Dixon.
Yes, that wasn't it, but those are great. I don't know if I would say to anybody to start with Ruby Dixon, but you know what? If you want to dive into the deep end, there you go.
No, I mean, again, like I think this is pointing to something too. I mean, there is a lot of cozy and romance crossover. I mean, that's my dissertation is on the romance genre fandom, but yet I'm talking about how much I love cozies over here. I mean, I will admit, I think it's really, really interesting. And I had this conversation when I was at Malice Domestic. More romance readers cross over to cozies than cozy readers cross over to romance. And I thought that was really interesting. And like, and I've kind of followed the breadcrumbs of this, and I think it's sort of true.
I'm gonna really think about. Do you have an idea of like why? Because I'm really trying to think about that.
I mean, I thought it was really interesting. So the lady I was speaking with, she's the former president of her RWA chapter, and she's currently writing cozies. And I do think it's kind of true when she was talking about it, and I was trying to figure that out. I mean, maybe it has to do with the romance genre conventions, or cozy mysteries having the small town feel, and like maybe you really want that vibe, or you want to follow with the friendships instead of just the relationship. But I mean, there's definitely something to that, and so I'm kind of curious to kind of pull on that thread a little bit more.
Interesting. Yeah. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I guess like the quickest example I could think of it is like when you have cozy. And I see people having this conversation too, because Cassandra asked, has anyone read a cozy without a love interest? And
Miss Marble.
I know. I feel like most of the cozies I have read do have a love interest, or 2, 3, whatever it is. But that's the B story. Like the mystery is the A story, and in romance, it's the complete opposite. It's that the romance is the A story, and that there might be other stuff going on. There's usually both internal and external conflict. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's your family. Sometimes it is murder. Sometimes there's romantic suspense, but the romance is what comes first, not second. So, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. I feel like this is a whole other dissertation for you to write.
Oh yeah, I just thought it was really fascinating. It was one of those little, data points that I found, and I'm going, and it doesn't really fit into the overarching, just call it a narrative of the dissertation. But I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. I'm going to put you right here. I don't want to forget you. That's the little nugget of brilliance over here.
For another paper sometime. So yeah, no, I do. That is really interesting. I'm going to think about that a lot more. And it makes me wonder how many authors then kind of make the transition writing between the two genres. So
you also have me thinking,
food for thought.
When you're reading, like, I want to read my red herrings and be like, are you the killer? Or are you not? Instead of being like, are you in love? Are you not in love? Like, I'm like, where's my red herring? Like, you have different things that you're looking for.
That's a good point. I do tell everyone, and I'm not sure if you read them, Angela, but I tell everyone that there's this one romance series that you are guaranteed to love. Because I just don't understand how anybody could not love it. Like, even if you don't read romance, I swear, read this series. And it's called the Blue Water Billionaire series. And it's about 4 female billionaires. So it already like subverts all the tropes of like there being these men in power. This time around, it's the ladies. And
actually, I read that.
And what's great about it is it's 4 different authors. It's Lucy Score, Claire Kingsley, Catherine Nolan, and Pippa Grant, and they write 4 separate books, but they're all part of the same world. They're all these women that share this like compound in Florida and are just powerful, badass ladies. And oh God, I love it so much. It's the one that I'm like, everybody will love it. Now that I've said that though, someone's going to go read it and be like, Kelly, you lied to me. It was terrible.
I just wrote that down in my little notebook. Like, I haven't, it's one of those, I'm trying to even remember if I've heard of it. I don't know. Maybe it's come across my radar, but I haven't read them yet. So yeah. Something else add to the to be read list a lot because that list is just never going to end.
Oh yeah. Just keeps going. Micah said, my friend once told me, I read pornography. I mean, romance. Yeah, that's something we talk about on the podcast a lot, is people having this idea that romance is just written porn. And there's bad romance, of course there is. There's bad cozy mysteries, like, of course. But I like to think it's more than that. But don't take my word for it. Read it.
Oh, no, because I was reading Cassandra's comment. Chick lit, exactly. No, yep, same. Romance is secondary. Yep. It's not the overarching narrative. Which is fine. I mean, again, I like romance in my cozies, though. I do. I mean, if there isn't romance, I mean, I'll still read it, though. But I always like it.
I do want to check out. I saw somebody recommended. Oh, Angela said Murder Past Due by Miranda James did not have a romance interest, and it was a male as the main protagonist or the main character. I'm intrigued by that. That's something that I do, because now that I think about it, I haven't read many where men are the main characters. So I'd be interested.
I know Perot, but aside from him, not so many.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other one I was trying to think of, there was a senior sleuther, and I think, there was kind of a little bit of a vibe between her and the neighbor, but I haven't read the rest of the series yet, so I'm hoping like maybe they do.
Okay.
But I mean, she was a senior sleuther, so I think it was more, I know the husband had passed away, and I think her kids had already like gone off to be on their own, so she was by herself. So
empty nester.
Yeah, so she's solving her mysteries in her little small town. But I don't think there was romance in that one, and I cannot think of the name off the top of my head. And okay. I haven't read the book for next month. If someone has, you can tell me. But spoiler free.
Tell me.
Next book is A Diva Runs Out of Thyme by Krista Davis. So I don't know if there's a lot of love in that one or not, but I mean, we're gonna find out.
It's like, is it time, like THYME?
Yep, our little punny titles.
That's so cute. I want to say I have either read that or have come across that at some point, because that sounds really familiar.
There are a lot of books in this series, but I don't know the romantic element of it. So there may be romance or not. We'll find out though. I don't know. I was like, maybe based on this conversation, I was like, I'm gonna have to go look and see if there is romance for our next one.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if there's not at least the wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of romance. You know, like just I feel like there's always that little hint of it coming, like it's going to happen. But yeah, I cast Rob Lowe in the role of the main character. Oh, in the book Angela recommended, I think. Ooh, well, I am here for some Rob Lowe. So that is fine with me. But oh, Christine says there is a romance in it. I think she's talking about Diva runs out of time. So okay.
I was just curious. I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe next month's book doesn't. I'm gonna have to find out and read it.
I think you're gonna have to go out of your way to find a cozy that doesn't have romance in it.
Hey, I might be up. I'm up for the challenge. Clearly, cozies are on my radar, so I'm gonna keep one eye open for that. I was kind of yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I'm excited for it.
Oh no, the poll. Oh my gosh. If you've been paying attention, our polls are the most entertaining thing in the world for finding our next book of the month. And so again, we had to have a runoff vote for Real Murders, which obviously won. So what I did this month was I gave the club a day and a half between when the poll ended and when our live stream started, just in case we had another tie. And there was a single point difference literally all the time that the poll was running. And so all the books kept like coming. It was ridiculous. They were so close. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take the runners up and just probably push them into the next poll and then just ask for another
for the
other slots, because there was one like right off, and then I'm blanking on the second one, but they were so close to
Murder in G Major.
That's what it was.
Off, and Death by Chocolate Cherry Cheesecake.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to roll these over because y'all are seriously interested in them. I mean, it's not like one book had like 8% and all this. Like there was interest across the board, and so I can't just let those books go. We gotta like roll them over because clearly people are interested in them.
Yeah, I think I voted for the writing one, but these all, they all sound good. I love that there's just like a cozy mystery for everything too. There's donut murders, there's fashion murders, like, oh, it's the best.
Oh yeah, I mean, Murder in G Major, I love it. Yeah, I wanted to, that's came up before, and I remember last time, like the very first time it came up, I was so excited. Like I purchased the physical copy, I have the ebook, and like I'm waiting for this book to win so that we all read it together. But like I already have it. Like I am ready for this book whenever it wins, and when it's finally book of the month, like I'm ready for it. Same with, I was gonna say, same with the Cherry Cheesecake one. Like I thought that one was gonna win before Real Murders won, so I was already reading up on my Cherry Cheese. I was like, yeah, this looks great. I'm gonna put in my order for that book, so the paper copies around here somewhere. So whatever wins, I'm ready to discuss. I'm right there for y'all.
Plenty to read. We can't read them all at once, but they'll get read.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is an ongoing club, so just keep those books. If there's one that you come across and you're like, hey, this would be a great book, just keep it in your back pocket and recommend it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'll read whatever we choose because it's a nice break from erotic romance every once in a while.
I mean, so my big thing is like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be impartial. I'm just going to post what people want. And then I'll go from there. I'm like, I will refrain from voting and let y'all take the lead. So I get to just watch and see like the polls. It's so entertaining to me because I'm like, oh my gosh, people are voting.
They get heated.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll read whatever y'all are interested in. I mean, cozies are cozies, and clearly I'm here for them. So
you and me both.
Yeah, I mean, Written Off, that sounded good. I thought that was fascinating. I mean, another book that's come up and gone away was the Coloring in the Lines one. I can't remember the title. I think Anna recommended it. And then there was another one that's come up a few times. So obviously these polls are just going to keep happening, but this time it's the Diva runs out of time, and I was like, that is such a fun. I'm
here for it. I am here for it, and I love me anything that's cooking. Though I'm going to have to eat something while I read it.
So speaking of that, if you guys have comments and thoughts, like this is your time to type them in because every comment is going to be as soon as the videos are archived and I can actually access the comments, I will convert every single comment into a giveaway entry. And a person, one book club member, will win 2 books, the first 2 books in A Sugar and Spice Mysteries by Mary Lee Ashford. Again, with your baking cozies right there. I mean, Quiche of Death is the latest one. I'm like, quiche. Every single time I had the. So again, I make the little images for the giveaways to promote it and let y'all know what's coming up. And I type in baking, and I'm like, oh, this is a fun picture. This is a fun picture. Oh, there's a bakery picture. I just fall into it. So again, I'm right there. As soon as you said cooking, I'm like, yep, I'm on baking cozies.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
I love my baking cozies. That's why Hannah Swenson, I'm like, murder, she baked. Here for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Diva books don't have a lot of romance. Okay. But amazing characters and a rivalry with a Martha Stewart wannabe. Ooh, okay. Ooh. I'm into it. The emphasis on diva. I like it.
I mean, I liked the book Killer Hair. I mean, you just remind me of that for some reason.
I haven't read that, but that sounds amazing. Okay, is there a drag queen cozy mystery? Because if there's not, I think you might have found your next writing project.
Mine?
I just
finish this dissertation first. My goodness.
I think it needs to be out there. I think now that I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, ooh, that would be great.
You're writing too, though. You gotta add that to your current, creative work.
Okay.
I was like, as I looked at it, I'm like, and we talked about that. We talked about this. Like, I just wanted to look down. I mean, I love how this is what's great about it. I think our live streams is that I'm like, oh, I have my notes, and then we don't even end up meeting them because the conversation is just so natural between you being awesome and the comments. It's just so great.
Yeah, I find I do the same thing with podcasts. Is people will come in with pages of notes, and then I'll just talk too much, and they'll talk too much, and we'll realize, oh, we talked about everything already.
I know. I was looking down. So one note. This has nothing to do with the book. Well, yes, it does, but not really. Angela Cox, I love her. She's so sweet. She did the word search for Real Murders. It's over on Twitter. I posted it on the Insta story, and tomorrow I posted it as the actual Instagram picture. So I just wanted to give her a shout out for making the word search. She's been doing this every month, and she is just so awesome. They look so professional too. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that. I don't know if she's still here. I know she was. She's up there at the top. Angela, yeah.
That's awesome.
I just wanted to make sure. I was like, that was on my notes. I was like, you got to mention because it looks so awesome. And she's so sweet. It comes up in my little inbox. All of a sudden, it's like, here you go. I was like, oh, you're the best.
I remember seeing the one for chocolate chip cookie mysteries, and I thought that was so cute. So I'm glad to see that that's a continuous thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know if she's seen this yet, but over on the Cozy Mystery website, I took every time she's done it, I've been updating them over on the website. So the last 3 are up there. So I get to add this one too. Yay! So I'm trying to make sure that they stay accessible. So I think I'm pretty sure I linked it over to her Twitter account to make sure she gets the shout out. She deserves it. But I'm trying to keep them archived so that if someone misses them, they will be available because she does such a good job. So I want to make sure people see her awesomeness. Woohoo! Just a little shout out. She deserves it. Cozy Con. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Cozy Con. Yes, I am here for it.
I just saw that. I'm like, all of a sudden little comments pop up. No, I mean, she does such a great job. Yeah. And it was a giant one. I mean, but again, I think there's a lot to be covered when it comes to Real Murders. So of course it's going to be a giant word search. Yeah. Yeah. I've got all sorts of, I'm like thinking about all the words you could include. So I'm excited to check it out. I know. I mean, I feel like the next month we're going to have a lot of puns. I'm going to be on the lookout for the puns. That's going to be the new thing. I mean, I'm curious how this works. I'm like, all the pun words in there, just a little fun titles. I can already kind of see this just being really, cute. And I know nothing about books. That's what I think about when I think about cozy mysteries. I don't know if I told you. Oh, no, you know what? You finish because I don't want to throw you off your game. No. I mean, that was my note. And then next month, Ben from At Botany and Books is my guest host. Kelly has been busy. She has so many things on her schedule. I can't monopolize her all the time. Although I love her and she is welcome anytime she wants to join. She can come.
I will be happy to tune in. I love you too. I love being here. It's so much fun. And yeah, so the cozy companions. I love being a part of that.
And again, so it was so funny. So again, I gave you guys the extra day and a half in case we had another tie, and we very nearly did. So I already made the YouTube link, and I was so proud of myself. So the YouTube link for next month is already there, so you can set a little reminder and add it to your watch list or something. So I was so proud of myself, like, hey, I can actually get the visuals done, and I can do this because I built in an extra day this time.
There you go. You go, girl.
And then I already mentioned y'all, the cozy. There's going to be a bingo board. There's actually 3 of them. So we have the Christmas one, then we have a fun, just, there's going to be a little baking themed one and just a general coziness one. So make sure you sign up for the newsletter and you'll have access to them. They'll come right in your inbox. Yay! So if there's any other questions, thoughts, queries, I mentioned the giveaway. Told you about that. I'm looking down the notes. I think everything's up to date. So unless you guys have questions, you can take it away for whatever you're about to say. You are not interrupting anything.
Oh, no, I was just going to tell you and anybody that cares at all about it. My dad started reading cozy mysteries recently, and he's a converted. He loves them. And he's decided in his retirement he should write one. So I thought you would appreciate that. All I know is that he wants it to be about a postman.
Interesting.
And I immediately thought old man, which I don't know why that's my frame of reference for a postal worker, but yeah, he thinks it's going to be like some young hipster postman and solving crime, which I don't know how much.
You remember in Cheers, Clay, what is his name? Clay Clayton or something? What is his name?
Yeah. It's Clay.
You know who I'm talking about, though. Like, he's my image of a postman. I just kind of pictured him on his route, like stumbling across a dead body. I was like, that was what I imagined.
And he wants all the names, the titles to be like, punny, like male titles. I'm like stamped for death. I'm just like, yeah. So that's oh good. Shaylee said I would read it, and Lady Gizmo said that's awesome. A postal cozy.
Again, I actually really want that now. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I'm not really familiar. I don't think I've actually stumbled across that because people love their cozy mysteries, who like their career cozies. That's the terminology, I guess you can call it, career cozies. And so I'm picturing like there's the journalist, there's the crosswords. I'm going through my head of like all the professions, but I don't think I've actually come across a postal worker one. So he might have just found like that niche that he's going to fill the void of.
And I think that was like the thing was he was like, if I do it, I want to pick something that like people haven't been doing. And so I don't know why he thought of that of all things, but yeah, he's got this whole like world that he's talked about. There's somehow there's like a bike shop involved. I don't know why, but yeah. Oh, everybody's so the postman always kills twice. Oh, that's hysterical. Oh, Victoria said it's Cliff Clavin. That's what it was.
Thank you. I had one of those brain parts. It was like it was there, and I'm like, okay, he's on Cheers. He's always giving you the facts that are not facts.
These are all fantastic notes. I'm gonna copy and paste them and send them to Dad to be like, hey, here you go. Here's the expert. I told him to join us. I was like, you gotta start coming to Cozy Mystery Club and watch what's going on. Like, you'll learn so much. But
he's welcome anytime.
So if you ever see a Dan pop up, it's Dad.
Oh, and thank you. I know this is my little gift to myself this month.
So cute.
I got it on Etsy. I went through a Murder, She Wrote phase, Amazon Prime. They have the first 5 seasons via IMDb. So I've been loving it. I was like, I need something just for myself, just a little treat. So I was looking at I always try and do something themed. Sometimes, I have a sweatshirt that says, Baker Street. I have one that says Get Cozy. It's like, no, I'm going to wear my brand new one for tonight. Dress for the occasion.
I like A. Chenoweth says, I'm new to your club. Looking forward to next month. Love your videos. A. Chenoweth, are you related to Kristen Chenoweth? Because that would be amazing.
I love her so much. When she sings Popular, oh, she's adorable.
She would be a good cozy mystery, like, sleuth. I would watch the hell out of her. She would be
her own
great.
Hallmark series. She's deserving of her own Hallmark Aurora Teagarden inspired.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna start thinking about that.
He needs a dog. He needs the dog to attack him. I'm just picturing a dog on the cover of the Cozy with like letters flying everywhere. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
these are amazing.
And he has to be a baker at home. It's a good career because the postman sees lots of people in town. Yeah, I know. Like they would be like the ideal people to like spy on what's going on in a town, right? Like they're seeing so many people. So maybe not in the time of COVID, but you know, still like it's cool. It's cool. We'll see if he actually does it. Cause like I'm the writer in the family, but I want him to do it because I'm like, it sounds like fun.
That's an amazing premise, though. I mean, when you actually kind of, you know, think of it like the analytical cozy, oh my gosh, I love her. Nancy Cohen, she has a book about writing cozy mysteries. And again, this is a perfect book for him to read if he's interested in writing a cozy.
I like that.
Anyone interested in writing cozies, Nancy Cohen's book, it's awesome. It's over on my bookshelf somewhere. I even did an interview with her on my channel at one point. She's amazing. She talks about the professions of your sleuther and how important they are. And I was like, he chose the best profession. I'm like, that is such a good choice.
Oh my God, I'm going to pick up that book. I for sure am going to pick that up. Good night, Anna. Anna says good night.
You're so sweet. I love Anna.
It's been a hoot as usual. So my postman still walks door to door. Oh, that's great. I love that. I don't know my postman yet. I'm still new here.
Oh no, that's why we said in the time of COVID, I was like, I actually saw she's a male woman, not a postman. I have a male. She was here. And so, she had on her mask and she had she had on the uniform. She had her, nail, like she had the carry with her. And so, I mean, she's still working. I mean, God, God love her for what she's doing.
Yeah. Those essential workers, like if any of you are or have them in your life, power to you. I mean, but stay safe. Everybody stay safe as best you can. Like mask up, baby.
At the time of COVID, his story is still relevant. Again, which is why I think it's so brilliant.
Maybe he should set it in the time of COVID.
I mean, I can picture like I am so on board for this. He's got to write this story.
Yes, I know. I'm here for it. I am here for it. Where the postal workers get dead letters.
Oh, the Postables, is that
That's a series?
Yeah. Eric Mavis, he was on Ugly Betty. He has his own show.
Oh yeah. Signed, sealed, delivered. Okay, I do remember.
Yeah,
I do remember that. Wow, I didn't even realize that was a whole.
Well, they've done a lot of movies. It's kind of like Aurora, I think, where they keep doing a number of movies one after the other.
Okay.
I think that's the one you're talking about. There was one on the other day where one of the ladies on the staff was actually the child whose letter had gone awry, who'd gone amiss. So he found out, her nickname as a child was Crackers, and the letter was signed Love Crackers. And he's like, "This is for you."
Wait, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to pause right there. Her childhood nickname was Crackers.
Apparently she loved eating crackers. But yeah, so that was on, and you just reminded me of that. So yeah, there's a whole thing.
I'm still stuck on crackers. I love eating meatloaf. You don't see me calling myself Meatloaf, but that name's already taken too. So I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Oh, good night, Lady Gizmo. Thank you so much for joining us. I know. Now you got me looking at the clock. I didn't even realize it's like almost 8:30. No wonder my throat is like, wait, you've been talking so much. Introvert life.
I know.
Talking.
I ran out of tea like 30 minutes ago.
This is what happens. Again, I live by myself. I mean, I talk to my dog. I talk to him like he understands me. When, of course, he doesn't. But this is the longest I've spoken all month probably. Like, no wonder my throat is like, what are you doing to me, woman?
Well, and I never shut up. So, I mean, I totally get it. This is why my podcast episodes are so long. So,
No, I mean, I've had the best time chatting with you, and everyone in the comments is so great. I'm like, if anyone has any final thoughts or questions about anything, whether it's real murders related or you need to know about her podcast or something, like, I was gonna say now is the time to ask. I was gonna say before I officially lose my voice, and they're like, "What are you doing to be an introvert person? You're talking too much."
If anybody's in Minnesota, let me know. I just got here. Micah said, I love when Kelly co-hosts.
Oh, right?
Y'all are so nice. I feel like I'm just so, I always feel unprepared to be here, but like, we have so much fun, or at least I do.
So happy.
I just hope people are having fun. Listen to me talk and talk.
Well, my mom watched the live stream after when it was archived, and she's like, she was such a great co-host. She's such a natural, and she was giving me like all the positives. She's going, oh, you had such a great back and forth with her. You guys clearly had got along well. You had such a great dynamic. It's like, yeah, she's amazing, right?
Oh, well, thanks, Mom. Yeah, it's that theater degree, you know. My parents would be proud. They'd be like, yeah, putting our money to good use. There it is.
I mean, I was going to say, I wish I had done more. I mean, I took, I think, a few public speaking classes, but I mean, again, totally on the opposite run. It was like, oh, here's our little bookish person whose voice is going to crumble pretty soon because she's not used to talking this much.
Oh, no, but you kill it. I mean, there's a reason people keep coming back to watch because you're so easy and approachable and like so fun. It's a joy being here. Thank you to everybody for letting me slide up in here again because it's always super fun.
I really do feel like, again, Cozy Companions, like we really do have such like a great group. Yes. I mean, I love the positivity. I love the comments. Everyone always makes me smile. You're so great. Like, it's just all, you know, exactly. I was like the little heart. So
many hearts. You two work well together, and I love you too, Angela, in a not stalker's way. That's why I want that on like a Valentine's Day card. Like, hey babe, love you, not in a stalker's way. Like,
that's so sweet.
So good. Yeah, this has been
such a treat. See what she just did there? She was so quick. She's like, yeah, I want that on a Valentine's card. Like the wit. She's like, in the moment, she's got it.
I'm taking a sketch writing class right now because it's like I need something like that where I can just think of random crap and like have a place to put it. So yeah, that's my outlet. Otherwise you guys get the brunt of my like impromptu comedy routine. So
I was gonna say I'm the opposite where it's like I don't talk nearly as often as I probably should. So it's like, let's talk about all the cozy awesomeness. And so it explodes. All the cozy love just explodes out of me whenever I talk about them online.
That's good. That's what the people want. That's why everybody's here. Good night. I hope everybody has wonderful evenings. Maybe it's afternoon where you are. Maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. I know it's about dinner time here, so I'm going to go rustle up something to eat.
I know. I think Max is finally waking up. He's finally finished digging into the carpet that did not give. So he's now wondering where I am, I think, or what I'm doing.
He's ready for you to pay attention to him again.
I know. He was mad at me the other day because I trimmed him, but now he's fine. Now he wants the attention. So I got to go take care of the little guy. But y'all are so great. I'm so thankful and appreciative that you joined me tonight. And thank you for everyone for watching. I mean, and joining and commenting. Like, just makes my heart so happy. And it's so wonderful to see everyone. She's so sweet. Like, it's so wonderful to see people enjoying this club and enjoying the books and, you know, really getting together and talking about something that makes you happy. I mean, I'm so honored to be a part of, you know, be able to offer this and do this with y'all. It's just, again, I know I just said it before, but like, it really does make my heart so happy. Like, makes my day, makes my month. Like, I was looking forward to this all month because you're so awesome and everyone's so awesome. Like, I knew this was going to be a good night. So like, even when my computer crashed, I was like, oh, well, the end of the month is going to be here soon. Like, yeah. I was looking forward to it. So I'm so appreciative to everybody for joining and for you. I mean, again, she is welcome back anytime. Like, I love this woman. She's welcome.
You're too sweet. I love you. Thank you so much for having me. And thanks to everybody for showing up. It was fun. I always have fun when I come on down to the Cozy Club.
I know it. I was like, yeah, you made me so happy. I'm so appreciative to everyone for watching and joining. And I mean, so I will go through all the comments. It's going to take the video a little while to archive, but I will go through. And tomorrow, hopefully, hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to have the giveaway announcement, and you have plenty of time to pick up your copy of next month's book. So you can get reading, or you can get your copy and put it aside. So A Diva runs out of time. So that is our next book, and hopefully you enjoy it, romance and all.
Woohoo!
So I guess we're going to sign off for tonight and wish you guys well.